Welcome everyone to a groundbreaking webinar series on inclusion, diversity, equity, and accessibility, presented by Gaining Vision 2020 in partnership with Connect for Life charity. I'm Sean Pickard, and we are excited to bring you this transformative series of sessions that explore the interconnected themes of inclusion, diversity, equity, and accessibility. Our mission is to create a platform that celebrates the uniqueness of individuals, promotes equitable practices, and ensures accessibility for all. Join us as we delve into thought-provoking conversations, exchange insights, and learn from experts in the field, all with the aim of fostering a more inclusive, diverse, and accessible society. Welcome to I.D.E.A. Do you know what this means? We like to start each session by acknowledging the land in which we call home. Gaining Vision 2020 acknowledges the lands which constitute the present-day City of Mississauga as being part of the treaty and traditional territory of the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation, the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, the Huron-Wendat and Wyandot Nations. Gaining Vision 2020 recognizes these people and their ancestors as people who inhabited the land since time immemorial. The City of Mississauga is home to many global Indigenous peoples. Gaining Vision 2020 is actively working towards reconciliation by confronting our past and our present, providing space for Indigenous peoples within their territory to recognize and uphold their treaty rights, and to support Indigenous peoples. Gaining Vision 2020 formally recognizes the Anishinaabe origins of our name and continue to make Mississauga a safe space for all Indigenous peoples. Lizz Noble is a multimedia communications professional with over 15 years of experience. She holds an MFA in Cinema, Media Arts, and works with not-for-profit and large for-profit organizations to optimize their media accessibility and inclusion practices. She is the founding member of not-for-profit Act on Ability, which focuses on industry acting and performance training for persons with disabilities. Ladies and gentlemen, here to speak about gender identity, Lizz Noble.
Hello. Today we'll be speaking about gender identity. The intention of this session is to provide research-based information on gender identity and best practices for inclusion. The objective of this module will leave you better grasping what is gender identity, helpful terminology, and inclusive practices. Please keep these tools on hand. I like pen and paper myself, but it also can work if you just pop open a Word document, keep a blank piece of paper with you, but keep a document close at hand for your thoughts and when you're prompted for module-based thought exercises below. What is gender identity? Gender identity refers to a person's deeply felt sense of their own gender. People may identify as male, female, non-binary, or trans. This is an intrinsic and deeply personal notion. Gender identity is different than biological sex. Cisgender refers to a person identifying as the same gender as they were biologically born as. It is essential to respect and affirm individual gender identities. So acknowledging someone's gender identity as they wish to be acknowledged is key to their overall well-being and mental health. So does language really matter? Language absolutely matters. It matters very much in our everyday practices as we move through life, personally and professionally. So using words and terms that are out of date or inappropriate can be really harmful. This can cause stress, miscommunication between friends and families, and our colleagues. So let's reflect before we get into the deep part of this. Let's consider how you use language in everyday life. Have you ever had a friend or family member or colleague mention that you shouldn't use a certain term or word? How did that make you feel? How did you react? How did you change, if at all? So, along with language comes emotion. Emotions and language. Gender identity is a hot topic. This brings up a lot of opinions and debate globally, and it's important to remember, gender is not a political or religious issue. It is a matter of respect and dignity. So often when we use wrong language, we feel embarrassed. I've felt embarrassed in this scenario as well. It is all right to feel uncomfortable because this usually means that we're being challenged and that we're evolving. So remember always, when it comes to gender identity, to be respectful. Ask questions, do your best to alter your actions and language in order to improve. I've included a link here regarding human rights pertaining to gender identity, which will also be in the accompanying resource document. Terminology. Understanding terminology is key. Let's talk about important terms. Gender identity. This refers to a person's internal felt sense or understanding of their own gender. Western society tends to assume that if a person is born male, their gender identity is boy or man. Though this is often true, someone's gender identity may differ from their biological sex. Biological sex, or sex assigned at birth, refers to the sex category that was assigned at birth by a physician, often thought of as a binary of either male or female, based on a physical characteristic such as genitals and chromosomes. People who biologically are not typically male or female are referred to as intersex. Gender expression refers to how a person expresses their gender through outward presentation and behavior. This includes a person's name, their clothing, hairstyle, body language, and mannerisms. All people express their gender differently, even when they are not conscious of it, not just transgender or gender expansive people. Cisgender is a term for people whose gender identity aligns with the sex that they were assigned at birth. Transgender, or trans, is a gender description or identity for someone whose gender identity does not match their biological sex. A transgender or trans person may seek medical treatment, such as hormone therapy or surgical procedures, to affirm their gender identity, but it is not necessary to seek medical intervention for a person to be trans. Non-binary. This describes a person whose behaviors or gender expression fall outside of what is generally considered typical for their sex assigned at birth and or who do not identify as either boy, a man, or girl, or a woman. Gender fluid refers to someone whose gender identity and or expression moves between and in between the binaries of man, boy, and woman or girl. If this terminology is new to you, it's always okay just to continue to educate yourself and never stop asking questions. Module 2, reflection. Before engaging in conversations about gender identity, take some time for self-reflection on the topic. You may find you have your own biases, which are prejudices against or for something. Since biases build up over our lifespans, it is important to consistently be seeking to educate ourselves and acknowledging your biases. Take some time to explore educational resources on the topic of gender identity to further your understanding. Read and reflect. Read about gender identity and unlearning our biases and challenging our perceptions through the link provided in the resource document accompanying this module. You can also try out the Safe Zone Project, which is a free 2-hour course for powerful and effective LGBTQIA awareness and ally training workshop. Reflect. Think of a time when you learned someone was a part of the LGBTQIA+ community. How did it make you feel? How have your feelings and perceptions of members of the LGBTQIA+ community changed? Action. Act on the knowledge you've learned from today's session. As an action point, you can challenge yourself to continually learn and source new educational resources on topics like gender identity and allyship. Let's talk about impacts of gender identity. Challenges regarding gender identity persist in the workplace and in personal settings, which stem from biases and discrimination. Most biases stem from ignorance about a subject, topic, or a person. The best way to combat ignorance is to educate or to provide resources. Workplace policies, for example. Some workplace policies may not adequately address the needs of transgender and non-binary employees, such as restroom or dress code policies. Pronouns and name usage. Respecting employees' preferred pronouns and names is essential for creating an inclusive workspace. Misgendering or using incorrect names can lead to discomfort, anxiety, and a sense of not being valued. And now we'll watch a short video on pronouns.
I use they and them as my pronouns. And when someone uses they and them as my pronouns, I feel like that person is listening to me. That person cares about me, and that person wants to have a conversation with me. Pronouns are a fascinating part of modern culture. I don't think many people think about them very often until someone like myself or others say their pronouns. So when I introduce myself, I generally say, "Hi, my name's Sam Britton. I use they and them as my pronouns, and I serve as head of advocacy and government affairs for the Trevor Project." I give this before I even give my job because it's the important way that you're going to describe me. Not what I do, but who I am. And that respect for my gender is really, really important. I think our culture has built itself around an idea that the faster I can learn something about you, the faster I can interact with you. We are a system of speed. And pronouns sometimes slow that down, right? Like, the assumption makes things easier. We are, every single time we meet someone, immediately putting some type of judgment on them really quickly so we know how to interact with them. But that judgment could be wrong. And so I think the hard part is to change perspective. Now, this isn't asking you to run a marathon. This is you saying that you want to be respected in a specific way, and I can do that for you by using a pronoun. Things that companies and schools can do are, on the first day of classes, and for maybe the first week, having a sticker where you tell people, "Hi, my name is Sam, my pronouns are they and them." It's also really important to recognize that pronouns change sometimes. Many of us will not always have the same pronouns because our gender is changing or our gender realization has changed. I think that's really, really important for us to say that the flexibility of your personality should be something that we can respect, and the flexibility of your gender identity is something that we can respect. Pronouns are confusing. I'm not going to say that they're not. But if I can have the President of the United States use my gender-neutral pronouns, and I can respectfully use theirs, then I think we're going to be in a world where everyone can be respected and everyone has the responsibility to be respectful.
Let's summarize. The importance of gender identity lies in its fundamental role in shaping individual identities, fostering inclusivity, and promoting empathy, as well as understanding amongst people of diverse gender experiences. Embracing and respecting gender identity is a vital step towards creating a more equitable and compassionate world and workplace for all. Thank you for attending today's session. Please feel free to reach out. You can email Connect for Life at connectforlife.charity@gmail.com or gainingvision2020 at gainingvision2020@gmail.com.